Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to be given a data set. And the data sets we're given are going to be modeled with quadratic functions. Like I said, next semester you'll be given data and you'll have to determine the type of model that best fits that data. But for this section, we're in the quadratic section. Right now we're focused on quadratics, gentlemen. Okay? So this problem is straight out of our textbook. It says to use a graphing calculator. That is exactly what we're going to do. We're given data on the closing price of gold in the different years. It says Orlando looked carefully at the table of data and said it appeared to represent a quadratic function. Do you agree or disagree? B, go ahead and find a quadratic model for the data and let x equal 0 for the year 2000. Does the model provide a good fit for the data? So we have a little work to do.
Yes, ma'am.
So the first thing we're going to do is it tells us let x equal 0 for 2000. So this will be represented by 0. This will be represented by 1. This will be represented by 2, by 3, by 4, by 5, by 6, by 7, by 8, by 9, by 10. Okay, I want to go ahead and take a look at just how this data looks on our graphing calculators. So that will be the first thing we do. So if everyone could take out their graphing calculator. If you failed to bring yours, you can get one of the really old ones off the overhead cart.
Ooh, Matt. Ooh, you lost your calculator. Where is it? I Susan it. Yeah, you did. You said it like an airplane.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is clear out any functions we might have. So go to y equals and clear out any functions that might be there so that we hit y equals and clear out anything that might be there. Has everyone eliminated all functions from their screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to enter some data, but before we enter that data, we're going to graph that data on a stat plot. So if you'll hit second and y equals, first of all, we only want one plot turned on. So if you have more than one that says on, hit 4 to turn them all off, and then come back in here to just turn one on. So we're going to hit 1 to turn on one, and so we're going to highlight on. If you do not have scatter plot, which is here highlighted, please highlight that. And we're going to put our data in L1 and L2, so that's fine. So you hit second, y equals, and you made it match mine. And then hit enter. And so when you go back into second and y equals, you should see it says plot 1 is now turned on. It's a scatter plot with data in L1 and L2.
How did you get out of that window?
I hit second and y equals. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and clear my... Alright, if you get behind, I'm going to leave the key history up here on this portion, and so you can just follow along.
How do you exit the second y equals menu?
If you're ever struggling to exit something, hit second and mode, and it quits you out of anything you're in. Unless you're in a program or an application, sometimes you have to use these top buttons, and it'll tell you which one does exit. All right. So do we all have our stat plot set up the way I asked you to?
Yeah.
Excellent. Now what we're going to do is make sure we can all enter our data. So please hit stat button right here. Stat. It's red. You should see it's red. That's stat. And to make sure we're all looking at the same screen, can everybody hit 5 and enter? 5 and enter. That way everyone, when we go back in, should all have the same headings at the top. If we hadn't done that, yours might be different. Okay, hit stat once again, and we're going to enter our data. We're going to enter our data into L1 and L2. So to enter data, we have to edit the data that's currently there. Oh, wow. I have a lot of data that I don't need. Now, I could hit delete individually, but that could take a while. So if I go arrow up to the top and hit clear, arrow up to the top and hit clear, and enter, do you see that all the data in that column disappeared? Now let's go make any data you have in L2 disappear. So arrow over and up, hit clear, and enter. Okay, did everyone clear any data out of L1 and L2, and you still have L1 and L2 up at the top? Any issues, or are we all good? Okay, so it sounds like we're doing well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to enter this data in L1, 0 to 10, and then this data in L2. This is on page 519 in your textbook, because I'm going to go into mine, and you won't be able to see this page anymore for your data. So you can go into your textbook on page 519.
I'm going to work with it. I said you were going to have your textbook. That's something. Whoa. Teamwork.
519, right?
Yeah. What's your soda sitting?
Yeah, I just left my work with them on this time. I switch out. I never bring both because
All right, 1420, 1088, 70. It was number 53 on page 519, yes. All right, I'm going to clear my key press history after entering that data it took. Okay, I'll give you about 30 seconds.
I don't want to land calc.
You'll have the video, and I have a printout to give you in a second.
Of the steps.
Yep, but I just don't want anybody working ahead of me, because then they'll get confused, and then it'll frustrate me. So.
Scroll down. Scroll down. Matt told me to ask that, but I need to. I was going to do it anyway, but I just wanted to let her know that you wanted it. Because we forgot our textbook. Matt lost his. I used it last night. Really? It's fine. Wow. What a nice person. That's probably going to pay off for you in the future. Right, Matt? Yeah. No, can't let that.
Okay, is there anybody that needs a moment more to enter their data, or are we good?
Kyle, do you need a moment more?
What?
Do you need a moment more to enter your data?
No, I've entered it all.
Alright, so what we'll do next is I want to just take a look at this data. What does it look like? I entered the data under the statistics mode, so I'm going to zoom, and if we arrow down, we should see that choice 9 is zoom stat, and that's what I want to do. So zoom is right here,
oh, I see.
Whoa!
and then 9.
Whoa!
Okay, so it looks like it could be part of a parabola, doesn't it? It also looks like maybe exponential if it's been vertically compressed. I'm not sure, but it does look somewhat like part of a parabola, doesn't it? So maybe quadratic would work.
Every little pixel.
Wait, that
No?
might be a, we learned this, it might be a, there might be an asymptote in the negative range.
You think there might be a horizontal asymptote if it's a exponential? Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the calculator come up with the quadratic function. Okay? And And you could have done this with your homework last night to check it, but I hadn't taught you how to do that, so you couldn't yet. All right, so how would we do that? Okay, so we go into Stat, we arrow over to Calc, and do you see what choice 5 is?
It's quadratic regulation.
It is a quadratic regression. So we're going to choose 5. Now, if you have the updated operating system, which if you checked out a calculator from us at school, yours should look like this. If you bought a new one yourself, yours should look like this. If you forgot yours and you had to get one off my overhead, yours does not look like this. Okay? Did Okay, I'll come look at yours in a second. Huh?
Go to Stat, go to Calc, and hit 5. Go to that.
Okay, you need to update your operating system because yours is like mine, like the old one.
Is this what hers is? Yours. Huh?
No, you hit enter to
Update your
Oh,
operating.
okay. It's okay.
So just press 5.
All right.
This will be how do I update it? I think you have to watch mine.
Okay, I'll show you exactly what to do in a second.
Okay.
Okay, if your screen does not look like mine,
We get caught.
if your screen does not look like mine, it will look like this. All right. I'm annoyed, and it's your turn to behave like you deserve to be in this class. Some of you just got quad red. What you have to do is manually go in and type in L1, L2, and Y1. The keystrokes for how to do that are right here. So after you do second, arrow over to Calc, and do choice 5, you have to hit the second key and the 1. The comma is above the 7. See, the comma is right here above the 7. Second and the 2 key, the comma, the Vars button, which is right here, arrow over, choice 1, enter. Okay, so if you don't have the updating operating system, this is your sequence. So
L1 and L2 under X list and Y list, but I don't have the Y.
okay, I'll go back to the people that do have the updated operating system now.
Wait, how do I get the Y one? Second one.
Okay, this is exactly what you're doing. You're just pushing these buttons in that order.
I wish it had the buttons. Like it shows the buttons.
Yep, and I circled the buttons on the screen over here.
I know, I think that, but it's like.
Alright, if you have the old operating system, come pick up a paper off that front table. That's the same thing. Okay, so this tells you if you have the newer operating system what to do. So the rest of us should have the newer operating system. Alright, so it's already selected L1 and L2. And we want to store the equation in Y1. So to store the equation, you hit Vars, right here, red button. Arrow over to Y variables, and then hit 1. So we told it to store the equation in Y1. And then we will hit enter, and then enter.
Okay, what's on? Whoa. I got that.
Okay, so a lot of cool things just happened, and you can see everything on my screen at once.
That was super cool.
This is your A, your B, and your C that you would plug into the standard form for a quadratic formula. This is where mine superimposed that equation through my data. Is it a pretty good fit? Does it model the data fairly well? Yes. Now, do you remember last year when we studied linear functions? We looked at something called R, which was the correlation coefficient. The closer it is to 1, the better the fit of the model. Well, we have R squared here for the quadratic. The closer it is to 1, the better the fit it is for the model. Is that a pretty good fit? Yes. Okay, so that is our equation. And you can, and I'll probably say either hundredths or thousandths place for the decimals. And you would write down that equation, Okay, to get R squared, you do second and catalog. Second and 0 for catalog, and you turn your diagnostics on. So go down to D, and turn your diagnostics on. Diagnostic on, hit enter. And if you go through the same process, so if we do second stat, so stat, calculate, quadratic, you do store in bears, y bears, 1,
How do you get
1, enter. Now you have R squared. Alright, so I'll show you on the screen how to turn your diagnostics on if you didn't get the square of your correlation coefficient. So, to turn the diagnostics on, you do second and 0 for catalog. Alright, it's on alpha, so I'm going to hit this button for D to take me all the way down to where the D's start. And we want to turn the diagnostics on. Whoa, I went too fast. Don't go that fast. Went right past it. There it is. And when you get to diagnostics on, hit enter. And now if you redo the process, so the process was stat, calc, choice 5, L1, L2, store in theirs, y theirs, 1, 1, calc, enter.
Is the R
Oh, now you should have the R squared. Yes, that tells you about the fit of the line. Yes, ma'am.
figure out how to get the 8?
You got it?
Okay.
So simple.
Really high on here.
Using these little so kind of order it, eBay has a buy totally buy. Well, it's good.
Exactly what you want.
It's really funny that I ordered them and my mom like some big box and she opens it.
I did stat and then arrow over. Stat, arrow over, choice 5.
I was doing it and I taking photos of the box. I didn't get it.
Second,
My camera's so unclear. My camera's so unclear.
second, and 2,
Yeah, Melody. Yeah.
down, and then
Melody
there.
has 2 pages of apps. If I change the entire section to like Apple stuff in it,
And then 1,
it's like polishes. What are you doing?
Give me a line through my graph like yours.
You didn't store it in Y1 then.
Oh, I kind of think it would be easier just to do it by hand.
There's
Okay, I was
now it should be there.
Seriously?
Okay.
I see sausage variable.
So, this is our equation.
Get to the country, JC. 1, 6, 7. Okay, sorry.
This will be, how would you update your
I will
things?
build.
I can update your operating systems if you need me to, if you don't know how. All right. Now, this was out of our workbook from yesterday. When we read word problems, the bell's going to catch us. But when we read word problems, we have to decide what's our independent and what's our dependent variable. The energy depends on the velocity. Okay, so this is our dependent variable, which is our y. This is our independent variable, which is our x. So this information would go in L1, and this information would go in L2. So be careful when you're reading. Make sure independent is x, L1, dependent is y, L2. You've got a couple problems to practice tonight.